Death and life in the power of the tongue.
Speak life.
Death and life in the power of the tongue.
Speak life.
Death and life in the power of the tongue. Live your life, love Christ, do your best to
Speak life.
Death and life in the power of the tongue.
Speak life.
Death and life in the power of the tongue.
Speak life.
Death and life in the power of the tongue. Live your life, love Christ, do your best to
Speak life.
Hello and welcome back to another amazing episode of the Speak Life podcast. We are so excited to have you with us for another wonderful week. I am your host, Minister Phoenix, alongside my beautiful and amazing wife and co-host.
Hey guys, welcome again to the Speak Life podcast. We are so happy that you're here with us today. You are in for a treat. The topic that we're going to be talking about is going to be fire.
They're always in for a treat. They just don't realize it yet. You know, y'all should be used to it by now.
Yeah.
But shout out to all of you, our listeners, our subscribers. We appreciate y'all, the ones who comment, the ones who share the podcast. You know, you guys are the driving force of what it is that we do. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you continue to tune in, we're very much appreciative of that. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all for that. You know, you guys keep us going. You know, for all of our first time listeners, you know, you're in for a treat. I really do believe that you will enjoy the things that we're doing. So, all right, I'm done with my shout outs to you guys. I appreciate y'all. I just want to stress how much we do.
Yes, we do appreciate
really
you guys.
do appreciate y'all. So we got some things in the work for the New Year's, you know. And one of the things that we're looking into doing is getting our Patreon started. You know, we want to take the podcast to the next level. There's a lot of different things that we want to do with it. We want better audio equipment. We want better video equipment.
Yes.
We just want better.
Better.
You know, we want to take this podcast to the next level, and you know, we want y'all to link with us in this. So, you know, as we continue going, you'll start seeing the podcast, the Patreon rolling out.
Yes.
You know, and that's the way that you can support us in what we're doing. If
you're enjoying what we're doing, we're asking for your support. Definitely.
Help us to build the podcast. We have the vision, but y'all are going to be the ones who help us to bring it to where we know it can get to. So y'all will be hearing more about that.
Yes.
You ready?
Ready.
All right. I know I said a lot. I come into episodes coming in hot with a mouthful, but today we're going to be talking about another amazing topic.
Yeah.
Every week it's an amazing topic. It just
They are.
keeps getting better as we go down this road. But today we're going to be talking about purpose.
Purpose. Ooh.
And purpose, for me, purpose is serious. Purpose is important. So I would just toss this first question out there, in your opinion, if you could describe it, what is purpose?
So purpose is the reason for doing something. Mm-hmm. It could be anything. It could be like the reason for you wanting to have a better life, or the reason for you wanting to buy a house, like own a car. The reason for you wanting to serve God. So for me, it's the reason for you wanting to do something. Or the reason for something existing.
Oh, I felt that. I felt that one in my soul. Because I think that's where, what I had in mind when I was thinking about purpose. I want to get deep with it. I want to get deep, So for me, when I think of this word purpose, the first thing that jumps to mind for me, being a Christian, following and chasing after Jesus, the thing that jumps out of my mind is the reason that God put me on this earth.
Ooh, yep.
It's like when I hear purpose, that's the first thing that jumps out to mind. It's like purpose. Bam. This is why God put you here. This is, what God has you here to do, what God has in store for you to complete. And if we look at it from like a secular, point of view, like, if you're not in church, this would be related to what, people think of as like destiny. This is your destiny. This is what you're here to complete, but in my mind, you can use them interchangeably, except for I feel like destiny is more like kind of like up in the air. You don't know who gave it to you. Whereas purpose is like, it was intentional in being done. This was intentionally given for you to complete. And I feel my preacher hat coming on. I gotta take it off. I'm gonna lay it right here. But sometimes it just jumps back on my head. But I feel like that's what purpose really is. It's when you say your reason, your reason for doing things, your reason for trying to accomplish goals. I feel like that's our reason for existing. Ooh, I said a mouthful. So with that being said, I say that a lot. I'm starting to notice I say that a lot when I'm transitioning into things. With that being said. So with that being said, how do you feel like purpose affects the way that we live?
Purpose is important because if you don't have a goal, if you don't have something that's driving you to get to the next level, the next step, then it's like you're walking blinded. Like if you don't have a reason to wanting to go somewhere or see your life somewhere or see your walk, like for me, like, I'm a Christian. So it's like where I want God to take me in this life. Where do I want my spirituality to get to? So if you don't have that, then what do you have? Like, what are you looking forward to?
That's a good one. That is a really good one. I feel like for me, just me personally, this may not be everybody, but just me personally, I feel like purpose is kind of like, my GPS. Yes, it's kind of like
a GPS.
It's kind of like my GPS, and what I mean by that, it's not like the all too of like, all right, whenever I'm making a decision, I gotta think, my purpose is telling me I have to go here. My purpose is telling me to take this left. My purpose is telling me to take this right. But it's been my experience that in life, the things that tend to happen as far as career choices and things like that all seem to revolve around this same sense of purpose that like tends to get unfolded. Like it's not something I just woke up one day and it was like, hey, boy, this is your purpose. Go fulfill it. But it's like through the walks of life, I've seen how purpose begins to unfold, and it kind of gives direction to where I want my life to go. And thinking about this, like, when you said, your purpose is like, I can't remember exactly what you said. I can't go verbatim,
Sorry.
But being a Christian, you know where you want to go, where you're trying to get to. I think like when God starts to show you, some of the things that he has for you to do or that you can do.
Jeremiah 29,
I
verse
think,
11.
okay, here we go. For I know the plans that I have for you, saith the Lord. I'm taking off the hat. You see, I didn't do that one. She did that one. I was minding my business and she was like, boy, put that preacher hat back on. But I feel like when you start to see purpose starting to unfold on your life, it really does drive a lot of the things that you do and a lot of the things that you don't do. And even some of the career choices that you choose. And the reason I say this is like, I look at when I first started teaching, like me, I never thought, never in a million years that I think I would be in someone's classroom, teaching their children. I didn't think that. In my mind, I had it set that I was going to be in law enforcement. I went to school for law enforcement. I was like, I'm going to be in law enforcement. This was my dream. If we look back, and I mentioned this in an earlier episode, if I was to pull out my yearbook right now, high school yearbook, it would say future endeavors to become a U.S. Marshal. That was my goal. And I would have never thought about, jumping into teaching, And you're one of the reasons, you over there, this beautiful lady right here is one of the reasons that I don't want to say one of the reasons, but I want to say you are one of the catalysts that helped me to see that calling on my life in that area.
Yeah.
Now, we had already been in youth ministry laboring for
many
years before I even started, getting into teaching. And I'm like, but me, what teach? Not realizing that like I'd been working with young people.
Yeah.
And it's something that, we've been passionate about and that we really felt that calling on our life to do. And then it's like when I got into the classroom, I'm like, wow, like I kind of already been doing this
Yeah.
for years.
Like, I'm used to this.
I'm like,
Just a different kind of setup.
it's a little different, but it actually corresponded with what I was already doing, and what I was already used to, and already had experience with. So I'm like, and that instance, it's like I see where purpose, God's purpose for me in laboring in His kingdom coincided with where something I was passionate about inside of, outside of, the church setting. And it still like really coincided to doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. So I was like, wow. So I feel like purpose really does direct, everyday life in a lot of ways. And with that sense, I feel like not having purpose can also affect the way that we live. Mm-hmm. I feel like if you don't have a sense of purpose on your life, that is when you start to live out recklessly in a lot of the things that you do. Because I feel like there's a strong correlation with purpose and self-esteem. If you and I believe I believe everyone has a purpose.
Everyone has a purpose.
I believe that everyone has. It doesn't matter how young or how old you are. I believe that God has a purpose for everyone. We may not fully understand it in its entirety, when we, are going through life. But I think through the things that we do and some of the interactions that we have and meeting people along the way and going through this journey, that God begins to unfold little pieces of it, and He'll start showing you like different things. Like you're like, oh wow, and people and you can find confirmation of this through other people that they can see like, oh wow, you know what? I think you would be good at this.
Yeah, it's true.
Or I think, you're amazing at this.
It's true. Because I find myself, people always tell me like, like you bring out the good in people, or like
I can attest to that. She brings out the good in people.
Or they'll talk to me, and then based on what I share with them, they're like, I remember this vividly when I was talking to a friend, and she had called me just to some word of encouragement or guidance, and I was talking to her, and it's like afterwards she was like, you ever think of going into counseling? And I'm like, not really.
Like, no.
Like,
why?
but then I find myself at work, I find myself being in like all different kind of groups with children and talking with them and sharing with them and them just asking me questions, and I'm like, wait, this is like me counseling these kids, but I don't have the degree for it. I'm not getting paid to do this.
They ain't cutting that check with that counselor.
So
check.
It's kind of like, and I don't have the license to do it. So it's kind of like, wait a minute. Then one day it dawned on me like, Sheikah, maybe this is what you need to be doing. Because everything else that I try, like, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to school for teaching. I'm going to go to school for this, that.
Nursing, we tried the nursing role. Nursing role was
everything. But then as I start being in the classroom, I'm like, this is not really what I want to do. This is not my passion.
Ooh.
Being in the classroom for me is like,
I like that word. I'm going to mentally write that down.
I don't want to be in the classroom.
Classroom's tough.
Like, and I told myself I was going to go back to school for my master's for visual studies, like visual impaired.
Oh yeah, that's when that's when you was gonna go and try to teach the blind.
Yes, and I signed up for it.
She did.
I
was there.
I did everything.
I seen it.
But then after, it's just like something just wasn't pulling me towards that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like. I feel like this is what I want to do, because not only it's something that I thought I could do, but you go to school for free for it. And I'm like, okay, I like that.
She was like, free?
I'm like, it's
that's
free.
300?
It's calling my name.
That's free.
Getting my master's for free.
Really? 3 million? Oh yeah, she was all over that.
So I was all over it.
I was there. I seen it.
But you know what though? Something was missing. Something was missing. And I'm
Secret
like, you know
sauce
what?
just wasn't there.
I'm like, I don't think that's what I should be doing. And I had signed up prior to that. I had signed up for class for counseling, and I got pregnant, and I was like, oh, I can't go to school pregnant. So I had put that off. And then that's when I decided that I'm going to go back to school, and I start trying to do the visual impaired studies to get my master's for free. Just wasn't working out.
Something about free just always draws people in.
Just wasn't working out. And then I found myself right back
where you started.
Where I started. Like, I'm going back for counseling. And I'm doing it, and every time I go to class, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the right choice. Like, I'm loving it. I'm excited. I'm ready for what's going to come next. So if it's not like your purpose, you're not going to fulfill it. You cannot.
Ooh.
And there's a like Minister Phoenix said, there's a purpose in all of us life.
Every single one of us.
You may not know it, you may not realize it, but you know what though? What helped me at times is just to sit in a quiet place where there's no noise, there's nothing going on, and I just think. And I just like, again, I'm a Christian, so I'm like, God, what do you have for me? What's my purpose? And it's in those moments when you're like in the quiet stillness, like if you listen closely, you'll hear him talk back to you. And for everything that I was trying, like the freeness of going to school for free was all I was focusing on. But then God reminded me, like, no, this is not what I'm calling you for. And then when you talk about he bring confirmation through others, when the fact that I don't even know why they asked me at work to do these groups with these girls. I don't even know. But then when I look back on my friends, sometimes say to me, you ever think about going to counseling? And every so often someone will say, you know what? You're a good listener. Or I like what you're saying, or I like what you're doing. And it just really brought me back to like, you know what? Maybe I should be doing counseling.
Maybe you should be doing counseling.
So, yeah, I know I said a mouthful, but.
No, but that was good. That was good. That was good. I'm going to reverse a little of the order of what we were going to say, because there's some really big gems in there that I really wanted to tackle, and when you started talking about the confirmation piece and really people coming to you and like giving you words of encouragement and you hearing this same thing being echoed, I want to talk about, some of the ways that we can find our purpose. And that piece was really jumping in there. You will have people, confirming, some of the things that you may not even see yet, but one of the things that you said, and I wrote it down, y'all saw me write it down in the air on my mental pad, is this thing, passion. The things that you are passionate about usually revolve around the things that you're really called to do. Cause God's not going to give you something that you're going to hate doing. God's going to give you something that he knows that, like, if I put this in your hands, you're going to run with it, like with zeal, and you're going to be, fervent about this. This is something that you're going to really chase after because you want to see it, fulfilled. And oftentimes our purpose revolves around the things that we're passionate about, the things that we're willing to sacrifice for, the things that we're willing to really take the time out to go and do. And when you said, the free road, it wasn't doing it for you. Like, this is $3,000 for me to take this class. It was a whole free million, but the passion wasn't there. You wasn't feeling tugged to do it. Oftentimes, and I say this, there are times where God will call you to do something and it comes with a cost.
Yeah.
It's going to cost you something, whether it's your time, whether it's sleep, whether it's, you doing something that you really want to do and having to, sacrifice that thing to be able to really walk into it. It does cost you something. Very seldom is it going to be free. Usually the things that are free, we don't really take advantage of because we never have to sow into that, so.
Can I just add something real
quick?
Add.
You the call. You can add whatever you want.
But you know what though? Like, I feel like sometimes, because we're like, okay, I have this is my calling, or this is my purpose. Then it's like, oh, I could do it. I know it and I can do it. But most times when it's your purpose, when that purpose is on your life, you can't do it by yourself.
You better tell somebody. You can say it again just in case they ain't hear you.
You cannot do it by yourself.
You can't do it by yourself.
Like if you can do it by yourself, then
nope, that's you.
Yeah, that's you.
That's you.
That's you.
That's all.
Yeah.
You.
You're gonna need a little bit of help. And for me, like I've noticed that when I want to do something, if it's from God, I can't do it by myself.
It's always, see, and this is why I say, like, God has a really interesting sense of humor. God be cracking some serious jokes up there, like, because God will be like, listen, this is what I want you to do. Mm-hmm. And then he'll show it to you and you're like, but God, how I'm gonna do this? Like, I can't do this. And God's like, exactly, I know you can't do this.
You need me.
That's why I'm giving it to you, because if you can do it by yourself, then you could probably get the glory from it. And then you start thinking, you start smelling yourself. Look at me. I did this all by myself. And then at the end of the day, God doesn't get glory from that.
Yeah.
So God has to, it has to be bigger than really what you can accomplish by yourself, because then it forces you to lean on him.
Yeah.
It forces you to really just depend on him to really get you through those things. There goes that hat again. I'm just gonna leave it there for a bit. I'm just gonna let it sit.
Yeah.
But I think that is a big piece, because oftentimes if we get this complacency where we're like, all right, he gave me this to do, I'm gonna do it, and when the vision's too big, we get kind of scared and we shrink back and we try to stay at that comfortable level. Mm-hmm. And we say, all right, this is what my purpose is. But oftentimes what we think our purpose is just a small piece of what he really has in store for us, because we don't want to launch out into that unknown, because we don't know how it's going to be. Like, am I going to fail? Is this going to, end horribly?
We don't like to feel uncomfortable.
No, we do not. We like to feel good and complacent, and, being able to have control over things.
Yeah. And
that's a big thing for us. We like to be able to control all the variables, and God works kind of like opposite.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, come walk out on the water.
Have faith.
Walk out on this water. And by the way, look around you. Look, you see all this storm and stuff. Aha. Yeah. Only way you can walk on this water is if you focused on me.
Yeah.
So I think that's a huge thing. A huge thing is keeping it in perspective, the fact that, yes, you have this purpose on your life. You have these things that you're meant to fulfill, and the only way you can really do it in its entirety is with the help of God. Mm-hmm. At least that's my take on it from my Christian point of view, and a lot of times I feel like our purpose is wrapped up in other people. And what I say about this, and I talked about this, I wanted to talk about this piece first, but it would have it that we would go in a reverse order of this. And, the importance of really having a sense of purpose in your life is, I really feel like it's underrated. It's really underrated, because when you don't have that sense of purpose, I think it messes with a lot of other things that we deal with as people, as far like self-esteem, for example. I briefly touched upon that. You don't have that sense of purpose. It's easy to have a low self-esteem if you don't feel like there's any use for your life.
Wow.
It messes with our confidence if we don't understand that we have, purpose. It's easy to let people treat us any which way, because we don't realize the value and what we have. And I already feel it coming.
And
so
how
I'm just
important we are.
I'm just gonna go there. The word says we are fearfully and wonderfully made. At the end of the day, we have to realize that when we were being created, God was like, yo, you are my masterpiece. He took, when he was creating the whole world, he spoke everything into existence. But when it came to us, the creator of the universe, now take this picture into your imagination for a minute. The creator of everything, who just spoke all these things into existence, gets down in the mud and starts playing in dirt to create us. So we're pretty important.
Yeah. And
in God's eyes, we are something special. And likewise, we have to realize that he doesn't waste. And I want to repeat this. He doesn't waste an opportunity to create something. He makes things. He's very intentional about how he creates things. Even when he was creating the universe, first he created everything, and then he started decorating everything. And then after everything else was done, he was like, all right, let's go. Let's go and create us some people to be like us. So it's like we have to understand that purpose can affect different aspects of our life, and not really understanding that we have purpose on our life can affect different aspects of our life. Because if I don't see myself as being worth anything, then how can I expect you to treat me like something of worth?
Yeah.
You know, if I don't see the value in who I am and what I'm called to do, or the fact that I'm actually called to do something, then how am I going to look at myself when I look in the mirror? You know, so I feel
what
like,
do you see yourself as?
How do you see yourself? And likewise, if I don't see myself as anything of worth, how can I expect anyone else to?
Wow.
If I don't see myself as being important, how can I expect someone else to?
Yeah. And you know, honestly, that's where the teaching comes in, because it's like for so many cultures, so many people, they don't have anyone telling them, oh, you're great. Or sometimes it takes someone telling you, like, you got purpose in your life. Like, there's purpose on you. Like, it takes someone to look at someone and say, you know what? I don't see you as everyone else see you. I see you as something greater. So, you know, like sometimes we don't know. Sometimes people don't know.
That is true.
But it takes someone to tell you. And for me, for example, like for so long, like growing up the way I was brought up, it's kind of like you start feeling like, why am I here? Like, why? But then it takes somebody to say to you, wow, I see that you do this, and this is so awesome. This is amazing. This is great. But until then, you don't know. And until, I started going to church, and not just even going to church, because I was going to church for many years before I even believe what, like the preachers, they would say, oh, I see this on your life. And I'm like, but I don't believe that.
Like, who, me?
But until you really start believing and accepting, so that's where the self-esteem comes in. That's where that confidence comes in. Because people could tell you that you have purpose in your life from now till next year. If you don't see it and if you don't believe it, it means nothing. It's going to die. And it's going to die with you. So you have to see it on your life, and you have to believe it. Because if you don't, it doesn't matter what anyone else say.
And on those same lines, I feel like there's a really big correlation with people and purpose. And what I mean by that is, oftentimes it does take people to help us to see, or help our purpose to really be unveiled for us. Sometimes it's really hard to even understand, some of the things that we're good at, or some of the things that we're passionate about. And this is why I feel like when I say this, everyone has a purpose. I feel like there are people that God would allow to speak things into your life, and that is their sole purpose in life. We're molded and we're shaped, and we take on things by all the different interactions that we have throughout our lifetime. And I see it like this, and this will be a quick demonstration for you to get what I'm talking about. For those of you who know the Bible, this is going to go by a lot easier. I look at Moses, for example, like Moses' life, how he came up. Moses should have been dead, but God would preserve him. Had Moses not been, walked in that situation that he had he not, killed that Egyptian, been in the wilderness, God talking to him. When Moses took up the mantle of what he was supposed to do, there was a generation of people who were waiting for him to walk in his purpose. And so many times there's so many people whose lives are tied up in our hands, and they're waiting for us to walk into their lives and to leave them with something, deposit
Wow.
something
I
into
feel
their
that one.
lives.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and it doesn't have to be anything big. And what I say by this, I'll give you an example. When I was in high school, God would have it. And I know that now, looking at it now, I know this is God. Like, I know this is God. I got kept back my freshman year of high school. Worst time of my life. I went to summer school all summer long for the wrong class. I went down to register for summer school because I know I failed something. School wasn't going as good for me as I would have it. So I went down to register for summer school. They looked in the computer. They was like, you need to go to summer school for English. I was supposed to go to summer school for algebra and history. Went to summer school all summer long. Got back to school, got kept back. God would have it that after that, like, I literally hated school. I hated it. So going into my second freshman year, I get back to school and the teacher I have for English is now that I went to summer school all summer long for is now my English teacher. And she's like, what happened? And I'm like, I don't even know. And I'm like super depressed. I'm a freshman in high school. I'm supposed to be a sophomore. All of my friends done went on and I'm stuck here for something that I feel like I shouldn't be stuck here for. And she took the time to really just show me some leeway. And then I made it through my second freshman year. Years later, this was like maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Maybe 4 years. Yeah,
Maybe 4 or 5 years,
Yeah.
maybe 5, maybe 6.
No, 4 or 5 years ago.
4 or 5 years ago, we're sitting in a restaurant. Me and this beautiful lady, my family, we're sitting in this
It was
restaurant.
for my birthday, remember?
It was, yes, we're sitting in this restaurant. Now I'm a teacher, right? And like, this lady doesn't know the impact that she had on my life. Like, this is one of the teachers that I look back on, Miss Tabor. Shout out to Miss Tabor. Love that lady. Like, had it not been for this lady's understanding and compassion, I probably would have dropped out of high school. I probably would have most definitely just given up and dropped out of high school.
Yeah.
And we're sitting in this restaurant, and as we're sitting there, I'm eating, and I look over and I see these people, and I'm not even paying attention to these people, and then I hear the small still voice of God. He says, "Look again." I'm like, "Look again." Like, so, like I'm not one of those people who be like, "Yo, I heard God. God told me to tell you to do this." No. But I'm sitting there and we're eating, and he's like, "Look again." I'm like, so I look back over, and I say to Sheikah, I'm like, "I think that's my high school English teacher." She's like, "Ask her." I'm like, "I ain't asking her. I don't know her like that." And lo and behold, she goes.
Yes, I went.
Can't take her nowhere. She turns over and she's like, "Excuse me, do you teach?" And that just springs into the full-blown conversation.
Yes, I
and
remember
this
that.
is years later. And I tell this lady, I'm like, I was going through one of the worst times of my life. I'm like, and because of like the compassion that you showed, I was like, you really touched my life. And I was like, now I'm a teacher, And this was when like we were, like I said, we was in ministry. Like, I shared with her that I was in ministry. She came, she listened to, the preaching and the whole nine one time when I was preaching. But it's like, had that lady not did what she was supposed to do,
Yep.
it would have changed the whole trajectory of my life. And that's why I say people play a very big role in walking in the purpose that they have on their life. And usually I feel like that can be found when you start doing stuff. You have to do stuff to be able to find what your purpose is.
Yeah, you can't just sit back.
You
and do
can't
nothing.
just sit, God,
You're not
give me,
gonna find it.
God, tell me some purpose, please. No. It don't work like that. You actually gotta be operating in some sort of capacity. It could be, you can find purpose doing something on the job. You could be like, you know what? I really love this job. I really love being able to do this or do that. It could be a hobby that you have. Ooh, I really love painting, or, I really love playing music. You don't know how God uses those things that you do to unveil your purpose in your life. So.
And it doesn't matter how old you are, you can find your purpose. It doesn't matter if
Every
you're
one of
young
you got purpose.
or old. Your purpose does not have to die with you.
Young, old, and everything in between.
Yeah, your purpose does not have to be in the grave. Like, your purpose can be fulfilled.
And like I said, there are people, and if I could encourage y'all in one thing, and I'll close with this. If I could encourage you in one thing, and it would be this. Don't be afraid to walk in the things that you're passionate about, whether it be, art, whether it be, a business or, a work that you want to do. I have, friends, speaking of which, I got to make some phone calls to see if they started writing their books that they want to write. Whatever it is that you're feeling passionate about, that you're feeling like, you really want to do, you really want to complete, I would encourage you to walk in that. And the reason I say this is this. You don't know how many people are waiting on you to walk in that thing that you are called to do.
Yeah.
And literally, the trajectory of their lives are literally just sitting in your hands.
Yeah.
Think about that. Look at your hands. Look at your hands. You see those hands? Yeah, look at them. Look at them. Yeah. You all out there as you listening to this, unless you're driving. If you're in the car driving and you listen to this, don't look at your hands. Keep those hands on the steering wheel. But if you are not, take a look at your hands and think about this for 1 second. There are people, the very trajectory of their lives are sitting in your hands, and they are waiting for you to show the world how amazing you are and walking in your purpose. So hold on to that and, be blessed. All of us have purpose, every single one of us, but it's up to us to actually take steps to walk in that.
Yes. And I just want to add, like I said before, it doesn't matter how long it takes you to find your purpose. Find it and run with it. Do something with it. Don't just find it and be like, you know what? It's too late.
I got this purpose. Let me just stuff it in my hoodie pocket.
No, it's never too late.
Never too late.
You're never too old to, find your purpose. And when you find it, just do something with it.
Indeed.
Yes. So, yes, this was awesome.
That was great. So we love you guys. Thank you for tuning in for another amazing episode. We appreciate y'all. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Yes. Don't forget to comment to be a part of the conversation. We love these comments. We love responding to y'all. So, and if you're a first-time listener, thank you for listening to us. Remember, death and life are in the power of your tongue.
So make sure that you speak
life.
And don't forget to go check out the book.
If you haven't gotten the book, check out the book. And you can check out everything that we're doing on 3roadscollide.com. We love y'all. Have an amazing week.
And don't forget, the Patreon is coming.
Oh, yes. The Patreon is coming. You'll be hearing more about that.
All right. Be blessed, y'all.
Be blessed. Have a great week.